The internet is a story about community and connection. A global space where we share our knowledge, our joys, and our lives. A space to receive news, services, and perspectives. The internet is where we connect. This is where ideas are shared, business is conducted, memories are preserved, and identities are shaped. A community open to all of us, to build, to form, and to protect. We are all connected. We are the internet. Let's shape our future together. We welcome you to the Internet Governance Forum 2025 in Norway.
Please welcome to the stage Karianne Tung, Minister of Digitalization and Public Governance.
Excellencies, colleagues, dear delegates and friends. On behalf of the Norwegian government, it is a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to Norway and to this Day0 at Internet Governance Forum 2025. We are honored to host this important forum, a unique space for global dialogue on how we govern and shape our digital world. Let me begin by congratulating IGF on its anniversary. Since 2006, the forum has served as a vital platform for inclusive and transparent discussions on internet governance. It has brought people together across sectors and across borders to promote a digital future grounded in human rights, sustainability, and cooperation. We are proud to host the 20th gathering in Norway. Hosting the IGF is deeply meaningful to us. We are one of the most digitalized countries in the world. Nearly all Norwegians are online, and digital tools are central to how we work, how we learn, and how we access public services. But digitalization, it is not just about infrastructure or technology. It is about people. We believe the internet must be open, inclusive, and safe for everyone, for the people. That is why values like freedom, participation, and trust are at the heart of our digital policy. And that is also why we strongly believe in the multi-stakeholder cooperation. And Norway is a long-standing supporter of the United Nations and of multilateralism. We see the IGF as a key part of the UN role in promoting responsible, human-centric digital development. Now, more than ever, we need platforms like the IGF, where representatives from governments, parliaments, private companies, international organizations, researchers, civil society, and youth can come together to discuss how to manage the challenges and opportunities of the digital age. Over the next few days, you will address key questions and explore vital topics like artificial intelligence and cybersecurity to digital inclusion, online freedom, and ethics. These are not just technical or political questions. They are questions about our lives and our common future. And to our youth participants, your ideas, your voices, and your leadership is essential. The digital future is yours to shape, and we need your energy, your creativity, and your insights more than ever before. So, dear friends, let us use this IGF to reflect, connect, and collaborate across sectors, across countries, and across generations. Norway is proud to host the IGF 2025. We are ready to contribute and to stand together with you all in building a digital world that works for everyone. Dear friends, welcome to Norway and IGF. Thank you.
Altin Studio is a digital public good that makes it easy to develop and host digital public services and applications. This secure digital platform is maintained by DAY0 and was first launched in 2020. Today, Altin is used by over 90% of citizens and almost 100% of businesses in Norway. Before Altin Studio, Norwegian agencies and municipalities had no way to collaborate on creating common digital services, causing fragmentation, lock-in, and suboptimal user experiences. Now digital services can be shared and reused across 357 Norwegian municipalities. Since Altin Studio is open source and a digital public good, it is easy for the community to contribute. One example is support for right-to-left languages, contributed by the Norwegian Directorate for Education and Training. Altin Studio is the first in a wave of new solutions maintained and open-sourced by DAY0. These solutions work great together, making a complete set of digital building blocks for the future. DHIS2 is an open-source platform for collecting, managing, analyzing, and sharing data, from population-level statistics to individual records. Developed by the HISP Centre at the University of Oslo with partners in 23 countries, it began in 1994 as a joint research effort by UIO and the University of the Western Cape in South Africa. Today, DHIS2 is the world's largest health management information system platform, used in 75 countries and impacting 3.2 billion people. From disease surveillance and supply logistics to education programs and beyond, this software helps governments make better decisions, adapt to local needs, respond to crises, and sustain long-term impact. Its open design allows global collaboration and innovation. HISP is now designing tools to help countries respond to climate change and working to ensure that DHIS2 continues its mission, transforming data into information for action. VIPS is a digital public good that helps farmers protect their crops against pests and diseases. By using weather data and field observations as input to mathematical models, it predicts the risk of infection. This digital platform is maintained by the Norwegian Institute of Bioeconomy Research, NIBIO, and was first launched in 2001. Today, VIPS is used by farmers all across Europe and in several countries in Africa. Farmers using VIPS spray only when necessary, thereby reducing their application of pesticides and herbicides without reducing the yield. This benefits the farmers, consumers, and the environment. VIPS provides the tools for collecting input data and disseminating pest risk forecasts to advisors and farmers. VIPS is modular and adaptable. The pest prediction engine can be integrated into other decision support systems. Being a digital public good, it supports systems in the EU, Mali, Niger, and Malawi. Looking ahead, more agricultural pests and diseases, as well as new technologies, will be incorporated to make the predictions more precise and relevant. Protecting crops and the environment is what makes VIPS a vital tool for the future. Met Norway Weather API is a digital public good providing free access to reliable 10-day weather forecasts for any location worldwide. Managed by the Norwegian Meteorological Institute since 2007, it offers real-time data for creating custom weather apps. IR, built on this API, is used by about 10 million users each week. Funded by NORAD, Met Norway collaborates with countries like Mozambique, Ethiopia and Malawi to help develop and improve their national weather services using this dataset. It's about ensuring food security. An Ethiopian farmer needs to know the start of the rainy season for sowing, while a fisherman on Lake Malawi needs stable weather to fish. Open and free weather data enables accurate forecasts globally, vital for adapting to climate change. Enhancing weather forecasts in low and middle-income countries underscores the potential of making the API more accessible and empowering local institutions to publish their own data. Publishing data locally will be even more accessible with locally run, AI-based forecast models. Met Norway is proud to provide expertise and open high-quality data to build resilient communities. Please welcome to the stage the Master of Ceremony, Natalie Bridget Becker-Arkovic.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, esteemed colleagues, first of all, thank you to Minister Tung for that warm introduction. Thank you so much from our host for that wonderfully warm introductory talk. Good morning and welcome to the Internet Governance Forum 2025, right here in beautiful Norway. My name is Natalie and I'm honored to serve as your Master of Ceremonies as we begin a week that will shape the digital future that we are building together. It's a great privilege to welcome all of you, as well as our global guests who are joining from online, our government representatives, civil society, private sector, youth and technical experts from around the world to Norway and to IGF 2025. So let's continue the journey together. This year's theme, Building Digital Governance Together, reflects both our ambition and our responsibility. So let us begin this journey with open minds and a shared purpose. To open this important conversation, it is my pleasure to invite a longtime advocate for multilateralism and digital cooperation, and really to broaden our perspective on digital governance in today's geopolitical climate. I'm pleased to introduce a key voice in international diplomacy and cooperation, Norway's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Espen Barth Eide. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Natalie, and let me join my dear colleague, Minister Karianne Tung, in welcome you. I'll give you all a warm welcome to Norway and to the Internet Governance Forum 2025. It's the 20th edition of this meeting. It has its roots, as you all know, back in the World Summit on the Information Society, which decided that we need such a multi-stakeholder platform to discuss how we jointly manage, govern the Internet, how we make sure that it remains open, inclusive and safe, and how we see this as a global public good, a global common in many ways. It is an incredible story. I think everyone here knows better than most people here and online, because we have very many online followers of this opening event, knows how what began as ARPANET, as a military research project in the US then in the 80s, turned into what we know is Internet, Then came the World Wide Web, and eventually we have grown into see something never ever seen by mankind, in many ways the most important infrastructure of this planet, the most important machine, in quotation marks, that mankind has ever created. And today it is a part of everything. Whether you think of it or not, it is a part of everything. It's the backbone, it's the fundament of almost all the new technologies we speak about. Much of it is in the private sector today and clearly in the future. The cloud is not literally in the clouds. The cloud is data centers, it is fiber optical cables, it's telecommunications companies, it's information management, it is cybersecurity, it's everything. It is such a fundamental platform for our modern lives. And as Minister Tung said, as a fellow Norwegian with her, I cannot really imagine what life was before everything was connected. If somebody showed me a Norwegian coin or paper money, I don't think I would recognize it because I haven't seen one for many years. Apparently they still exist. I haven't seen them. Everything is digital in this country and in so many countries. That makes us more efficient. That opens a host of new opportunities, but of course it also makes us vulnerable, which is also an important element of understanding why we need a solid internet that works, that delivers, that is open, that is safe, and that is inclusive, because it is such an important part of everything else. And it's important in itself and in everything else. We very much believe that this governance initiative needs exactly what this forum provides, a multi-stakeholder approach, because there are so many actors in the private sector, in governments, in academia and in research, in civil society, youth, as we particularly highlight, which will live all their life. I, after all, remember life before the internet. They don't, if you're properly youth. They will live their whole life in an internet-dominated world. And we see these endless opportunities, which is also what Kofi Annan spoke about when he was the Secretary General of the UN when all this was shaped 20 years ago. And I think we still see the endless opportunities to overcome the digital divide, to clearly bring more people into development, modernity, to be more efficient, to be smarter, to optimize, to deal with common challenges in ways that we have not even imagined only a few decades ago. But we also learned about the pitfalls, the challenges, the problems. We also learned about the risk of manipulation, the risk of polarization through social media, obviously the risk of data theft, the risk of threats to our security. And as a foreign minister, I very much see the internet and everything digital also part of how we govern the world as such. I see the same competition for resources, the same competition for technology, the same competition for influence, the same shifts of power that I can see in the more physical world is also definitely represented in the digital world. So all these are themes that we will discuss here. So my main message as I end this welcoming intervention is that this is incredibly high on the agenda, as it should be. We should keep the internet open, inclusive, and safe. And we should make sure that we maintain a solid multi-stakeholder participation. This is not something that can be dealt with like people like me, like governments alone. We're way beyond that point. We have to engage with all those actors that in the real physical world are actually defining the future of the internet. I wish you very, very good conversations. I am really happy that they take place here. I should, of course, say that this is the largest UN conference of its kind in Norway, the first in this field, and we are incredibly proud to be hosts. I hope you will find us as good hosts, and we look forward to learning the outcomes of all your deliberations. Thank you for the attention.
Greetings to all forum participants. Today, the multi-stakeholder model is more relevant than ever for countries around the world. 3 years ago, Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and we continue to fight and repel enemy attacks every day thanks to the unity and cooperation of the government, civil society, businesses, international partners, donors, and organizations. Even under such extreme conditions, the multi-stakeholder model enables us to keep digitizing the country, launching new services, and achieving ambitious goals. Let me demonstrate the effectiveness of this model using the telecom sector as an example, an area that has faced unprecedented challenges during the war, unlike anything any other country has experienced. A quarter of all fixed networks and thousands of mobile base stations were damaged or destroyed. The enemy's goal, and it remains unchanged, is to disconnect Ukrainians from the world. We've endured thanks to cooperation and our partners. Today, we have over 50,000 Starlink terminals. I want to thank the governments of Poland, Germany, and all our international partners. Starlinks provide connectivity for hospitals, schools, critical infrastructure, and the military. And they deliver the first signal to newly deoccupied territories. Beyond restoring destroyed infrastructure, one of the most difficult challenges for the telecom sector and the entire country has been the blackouts. On November 23, 2022, Russia launched a massive missile strike. For the first time, Ukraine suffered large-scale destruction of its energy grid. 59% of mobile base stations nationwide went offline, and 64% of fixed-line networks were down. No one was prepared for damage on this scale. We regularly met with mobile operators to identify their needs, negotiated with international companies and governments to secure more Starlink terminals, generators, and other vital telecom equipment, and coordinated fuel delivery logistics. Despite the challenges and scale of destruction, the telecom sector is recovering and growing. Over the past 3 years of war, the number of households using XPON technology has doubled. Today, half the population of Ukraine has access to stable internet that can operate for more than 72 hours during power outages. Thanks to XPON's growth, Ukraine ranks first in the world for fixed internet stability for the second year in a row, according to the Digital Quality of Life Index. We are also working to increase the resilience of mobile internet. Today, all mobile base stations can operate for up to 8 hours without power, and all critical infrastructure is equipped with generators and backup power sources. Thanks to the efforts of mobile operators, 98% of the population now has access to stable mobile and fixed internet. At the same time, European integration remains a key priority. We've already taken an important step. Starting January 1st, 2026, Ukraine will join the Roam Like at Home initiative, which applies throughout the EU. This marks the first time the EU has facilitated inclusion in a common mobile area for a country that is not yet a member state. Our current focus also includes restoring networks in deoccupied and heavily damaged areas, and expanding infrastructure to remote regions and along key roads. Several legislative initiatives, true game changers for the sector, are now underway, allowing telecom companies to build infrastructure quickly and efficiently without unnecessary bureaucracy. We're now working on a large subvention project that will encourage operators to bring internet access to even the most remote settlements, and we count on the support of our European partners to make that happen. In June, we received authorization to test direct-to-cell satellite technology. This fall, the service will launch in Ukraine, alongside the United States, Australia, Japan, and New Zealand. It will ensure that Ukrainians remain connected even in the mountains and regions still awaiting reconstruction after Russian attacks. Every citizen will stay connected. This is a powerful example of how the multi-stakeholder model works in practice. Ukraine now has unique experience in maintaining access to digital services during wartime, and we're ready to share that experience with the world.
Thank you to Minister Bart Eider, and thank you to Mr. Fedorov for reminding us what is at stake and also what is possible when technology serves people in times of crises, and of the importance of cooperation and preparedness. And to our next topic, our dependence on satellite and spatial systems. What happens if they fail? To help us understand the hidden systems that support our digital world, and the crucial but often invisible role of geodesy in our modern lives. Please welcome our next speaker, Nicholas Brown, Head of Office at the United Nations Global Geospatial Statistics Center. Nicholas, the stage is yours.
Hi, my name's Nick and I work with the United Nations. I work with people from all around the world on a subject called geodesy. It's the most amazing science that you've probably never heard of. As geodesists, we measure the Earth. We measure the shape of the Earth, its orientation, its gravity field, and how it changes with its speed of rotation. It's important that we continuously measure the Earth because the Earth isn't as stable as it seems. The Earth actually spins like a spinning top, and it wobbles. And as the Earth spins, it also wobbles. Weather and natural hazards like earthquakes cause air, land, water, and ice to move from place to place, which makes the Earth wobble over time. Thanks to geodesy, we can measure this wobble. We can measure the wobbles of our planet over time, and we need to because satellites depend on it. For example, for GPS and internet satellites to help us and provide us with accurate and reliable information, we need to know their exact position at all times with respect to the Earth. So imagine that. Imagine for a moment a world without accurate and reliable satellite information. I want you to imagine a scenario. It's the year 2029, and there's been no significant investment in geodesy ground stations that are measuring the wobble of the Earth. Furthermore, universities and scientific institutions that we've been relying on to perform the critical analysis that guide the satellites over time no longer have the funding or the expertise to perform these functions. So with that in mind, imagine this. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. 7:43 and your alarm didn't wake you up at 7 o'clock when you were meant to wake up. You then turn on your TV and you realise that you can't get a signal and you think that's strange and there's no signal on your phone either. The reason for this is because GPS satellites have stopped working and they were providing precise timing synchronisation information through telephone connections which were allowing you to get that information. By 9:03, you had friends that were due to arrive on a flight, but when GPS and telecommunications satellites stopped working, land, sea and air travel has stopped. The pilots, drivers and captains already en route have had to switch to analogue devices. Messages are trying to be sent via HF radio for vessels to return to port. Tens of thousands of people in the planes are oblivious to the challenges that pilots are having trying to talk to the air traffic control. But passengers soon realise the problems are worse because when they land, they're stuck there. By 10:18, for people driving, they notice that traffic light systems are very erratic or have stopped. This is because traffic light systems, just like mobile phone towers, rely on precise timing information from GPS satellites. Accidents start happening everywhere, but the emergency services can't be notified because mobile phone towers aren't working. Furthermore, the emergency services sector are struggling to reach people because of the lack of central traffic management, route planning, and blocked streets from the chaos. By 11:47, all stock exchanges around the world have stopped operating because the loss of precise timing information from satellites means it's impossible to have trades that are being traded with integrity. By 12:34, there's a panic on the street and a run on the banks as people are trying to withdraw cash. However, automatic teller machines aren't working and banks don't stock enough cash to meet the demand. By 2:02, in a bunker somewhere in Europe, a pilot has lost contact with armed drones that were flying in a test exercise. The failure of secure satellite systems has left soldiers, ships, and aircraft cut off from commanders and vulnerable to attack. Without satellites, World leaders are struggling to talk to each other to diffuse global mounting tensions. By 512, when the satellites stop, there are some backup systems that kick in using ground-based clocks and ground-based technology. However, within a few hours, these different ground-based systems don't have the synchronization. So although the timing might work locally, it's not going to work globally. This causes problems that start to occur. Cloud services begin to fail. Internet speeds get slower and slower until finally they stop altogether. Power cuts come next as suppliers are unable to regulate demand. By 11:30, within a day, most countries reliant on satellites for their economies and critical infrastructure announce they're in a state of emergency. And there is no clear way out given the lack of backup options. By 11:58, communications, transport, power, and computer systems have all been severely disrupted. Global business has ground to a halt, and governments are struggling to cope. Politicians have been warned that food supply chains will soon break down, and now they fear a breakdown in public order. Modern society is powered by satellites. Therefore, modern society is powered by geodesy, but most people have never heard of it. Politicians definitely don't know what it is, and as a result, it's severely under-resourced worldwide. Without geodesy, the accuracy and reliability of satellite services will degrade and ultimately fail. I would like you to take away 3 things from this. Firstly, geodesy is now the most amazing science you have heard of. Secondly, when you return to your countries, find out who's working on geodesy. And thirdly, support these people as best you can. The future of modern society, the internet, and probably your job depends on it. Thank you very much.
We are explorers. It's who we are as a nation, as people. We are surrounded with oceans. We are surrounded with this incredibly harsh environment.
Under extreme conditions, there is a strong push to innovate. If something can successfully operate under the weather conditions, it can operate anywhere.
The digital shift and sustainable growth require cooperation between businesses and across industries.
If you're looking at Norway, it's a unique testing ground for autonomous solutions because we have great variation in seasons. If it works up north, in the cold, during the winter, it works everywhere.
We have people here that like to test things. We are not afraid.
Our advantage is that we see this as a transition towards green transportation. And it goes all the way through how we utilize the resources, how we collaborate, and how we think about the end user value.
I think Norway is well positioned when it comes to delivering a holistic system that can support full integration into a society.
It's a very, very short distance between the public bodies and the private companies, so collaboration is really easy.
Also, we have a very trust-based society. Norwegian, flat-structured companies, they actually have the ability to change around quickly and seek opportunities when they arise. We have the knowledge and we also have the ability to take some risk.
The government has allowed us to test out solutions that are still not yet prepared for the market.
Meaning that we can test out in real-life applications to a high technology readiness level.
We do not think we should simplify it in the beginning. We think that we should be complex. We drove autonomous vehicles in the winter condition at once. And we brought the vehicles even to Svalbard because we want to make it challenging and difficult and not easy.
Autonomy is not a goal in itself. It's a means to reach another larger goal, the global efforts and the emissions that we need to reduce and the effects on the global environment. And autonomy is a contributor into that.
Working with taking down the silos by connecting the dots, strengthening the dots, and multiplying the dots, because we work across all transport modalities.
With that collaborative spirit we have, with all the different actors required to meet new solutions, we have all the potential to be at the forefront and contribute into the futures of tomorrow.
Okay, hope you enjoyed the film. It really sets the tone, I would say. It sets the tone for our next speaker, as research is a very important part in developing new innovations. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for highlighting a risk that we often overlook. And now we move from hidden risks to bold ambitions. To get there, we need research and education and the system around it. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Norway's Minister of Research and Higher Education, Ms. Sigrun Aasland, to share a vision for how Norway is investing in artificial intelligence responsibly and inclusively. A warm round of applause.
Excellencies, colleagues and friends, I am so happy to see you here, very proud to be part of this great event and so glad that you could join us here in Norway for the IGF. The digital shift is progressing rapidly, providing unforeseen and quite magnificent opportunities, but also new vulnerabilities. And as policymakers, it is our job to embrace these opportunities, but also to make sure that we use our resources to the benefits of people. And it should never be technology for the sake of technology, always technology for the sake of making people's lives better. And we do have some big tasks ahead of us. Demographic change, resource scarcity, climate and energy transition, geopolitical tensions, and against this backdrop, the accelerating technological shift. My colleague, Minister of Digitalization and Public Governance, Karianne Tung, spoke earlier about digitalization really being about people. And to that end, I want to address 3 lines of work where we work very hard to ensure that both artificial intelligence and the broader digitalization is making people's lives better and that we can manage it responsibly. Let me start with knowledge. Norwegian researchers have worked with AI for many years, as have scientists from the rest of the world. Faced, however, with the extremely rapid developments of this field during the last few years, we saw and recognized that we needed to step up. And so 2 weeks ago, Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre and I announced 1 billion Norwegian kroner of funding for 6 research centers for AI. These centers are powerhouses for cutting-edge AI technology in Norway, from universities, research centers, public sector, and business. They will work on developing and understanding AI as a technology, but also on implementing solutions, on commercializing solutions, and on making them work for the best of society, strengthening research, public sector, and business, and ensuring that we can build a society of trust, of good decision-making, and of opportunities for all using artificial intelligence. And to make use of AI across society, in navigation, in defense, in health services, and in education, we need to also make sure that the education system incorporates the necessary digital competence, and also, more importantly, that we, when using AI, do never forget to use the human intelligence even more. This means building an education system that uses technology right, at the right stages, at the right ages, in the right ways. And we are currently looking into how to adapt our higher education system to face the new realities of AI. In exams, in evaluations, to make use of AI while ensuring true learning and accountability and the integrity of our degrees. We are gearing our education system to embody the future of AI. Our second task is infrastructure. Last week, I had the great pleasure of inaugurating Olivia, Norway's newest, greenest, and most powerful supercomputer. She represents a 17-fold of the Norwegian capacity for computing. She will be used, among other things, for the development and training of advanced language models for Norwegian, Sami, and other European languages. Third, Technology needs governance, policy, and international collaboration. And our third task, therefore, is regulation and governance, which needs to happen through international collaboration, as we are embarking on in this important week together. International cooperation is an important aspect of every part of the digitalization efforts. All our national centers for AI, like all great research, are fundamentally internationally oriented with talented people from all over the world involved. And this is why your presence here is so important and highly welcome. I want to wish you great discussions, great collaboration, and look forward to a few days here of mutual learning for the best of our common digital future. Thank you so much for the attention.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Minister Asland. As we have heard, digital governance must be collaborative. Very, very important. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce a panel of experts who have traveled here from far and wide to be here today and partake in this very important conversation. For you, our audience, and for you, our global audience, we're so happy to have you here today as well. Now, I'm going to introduce them. Our four experts, and they're going to reflect really on the internet, on why the Internet Governance Forum is central to the effort of collaboration when it comes to digital governance. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Carol Roach, Chair of the IGF MAG. Carol brings decades of experience in public service. Currently, she's the leading global stakeholder engagement chair, or rather, she is leading the global stakeholder engagement as chair of the IGF Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group. Then we have Mr. Hans-Peter Holland, CEO of RIPE NCC, longtime advocate for open internet infrastructure, serves as CEO of RIPE NCC, a key player in managing Europe's internet resources. We also have Mr. Thomas Schneider. He's an ambassador from Switzerland, one of Europe's leading voices on digital diplomacy and multilateral cooperation. Then we have Ms. Elise Lindeberg, CEO of Skyguard, and Elise is the CEO of Skyguard, bringing extensive experience from internet governance, also including her active role in ICANN and a long-standing contribution to digital policy and regulation, all of which we're going to be talking about here today. So please, a warm round of applause as they join us on stage. Thank you so much to our esteemed panel for joining us today. It is great to have you all here, coming from different parts of the world to be part of this conversation, IGF 2025, for our host country, Norway. So without further ado, we'll get straight into it. The panel today is exploring the role of Internet Governance Forum, and we are talking about why it continues to matter. So why is the IGF an important part of global digital governance? Now, I know you've all got 60 seconds to answer, so Carol, you first.
Right, so great question. Digital technology is ever present and it's inescapable. It influences how we live, work, and socially interact with each other. Don't be panicked when we cannot find our phones. It's our connection to family, work, banking, government services, healthcare, and education. As technology continues to advance and become more intricately entwined, the challenges we face also grow more complex. The blurred lines of data privacy, protection, identity, digital rights, and security. The IGF is that open, safe space for dialogue and the development of policies and best practices on global digital governance. It's more than a forum. It is a community and network of stakeholders that have the common interests of a safe, secure, and sustainable digital future. It's why we are still here after 20 years.
Thank you, Carol. Hans-Peter, over to you.
Yeah, the IGF plays a critical role because it brings all stakeholder groups to the same table: governments, civil society, businesses, academia, and the technical community. In a time of fast-moving technologies and geopolitical shifts, we need more dialogue, not less. At the RIPE NCC, we see IGF as a space where technical expertise and operational insight can inform global discussions on public policy, regulation, digital trust and infrastructure, and resilience. The decisions made in this space are not abstract, they affect the architecture of the internet. And when all stakeholders are heard, we can avoid fragmentation and ensure the internet remains open, secure, and interoperable. That's what makes IGF not just relevant, but essential.
Hans-Peter, thank you so much. Thomas Snyder, Ambassador, over to you to answer the question.
Yes, thank you and good morning. Basically, much has already been said. If you want to take decisions on how to use digital tools in a way that they benefit all, then you need to have everyone at the table. You need to discuss together, understanding the dependencies of one decision on people that you may not necessarily think of. And the more inclusive such a platform is, the better the decisions, the more balanced. This is why it is necessary, again, to have platforms like the IGF, to talk to each other, although we are unfortunately currently living in a time where people think they can take top-down decisions over the heads of others and don't have to integrate their people, not build their decisions on facts. But I think we should not be too impressed by this and just stick to our beliefs and values and continue to have a dialogue and hope that times will change and people will listen to each other's more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. Elise Lindeberg, what is your answer to this question?
Thank you, and good morning. And I'm so proud that the IGF is in Norway, just to say that at first. Now, being a participant for IGF for almost 15 years, I've seen how it develops, and more people are diving in, more interests and more perspectives are coming to the stage and to the workshops. It's really great. IGF, is a key part of the global multi-stakeholder community and discussions. It has grown to become that. It is open, it is inclusive. We work on that all the time to keep it open and inclusive. That's very important. And actually, this is about securing, the ongoing dialogue on how internet functions and how it actually can make our lives better. Internet is going to be for the public interest. That's what we're here for. It's going to give us better lives. So internet is the foundational layer of how we govern the society today.
Thank you.
And we then, and just growing challenges that we see. Let's unite to make a change for those.
Elise, thank you so much. These panelists are doing fantastically well in the time frame we have. So over to our next question, I want to ask you, how do we ensure then, because multi-stakeholder approach and perspective is so important, how do we ensure a balanced multi-stakeholder perspective? Carol.
So stakeholders are those who have a vested interest or concern in something. They may have the ability or the authority to influence or make decisions. Each stakeholder has a different perspective. That is, they have their objectives, and earlier we heard about having their own values. So it is important to understand and respect the needs and the requirements of each stakeholder. To achieve balance, it is critical to aim for a win-win consensus outcome. This means developing and maintaining an environment that respects diversity and equity, fosters trust, and recognizes, as the case of digital governance, that moving forward together for the common good is a shared common goal.
Thank you, Carol. Hans-Peter, over to you.
So a balanced multi-stakeholder model doesn't happen by accident. It must be cultivated through sustained effort. At the RIPE NCC, we invest in this model daily. From our bottom-up policy process to our active support for national and regional IGFs across our service region. We also build communities and trust through action. We have signed MOUs and joint declarations with governments and with the ITU to support IP version 6 and routing security to promote capacity building and multi-stakeholder internet governance. Ensuring balance means providing space, support, and shared responsibility, especially for underrepresented voices. It's crucial to have all stakeholder groups at all levels, local, regional, and global, to achieve a truly balanced perspective.
Thank you so much for that input. Ambassador Schneider.
Thank you. Well, as somebody working for a government, of course, I can assure you that the government per se always takes balanced decision because it's more or less democratically elected. So we don't really need the multi-stakeholder approach because the government is already multi-stakeholder. And of course, that is unfortunately not true. So the more people, the more experience, the more facts you have at the table, that's step one. So these facts need to be there, the impacts need to be heard, the visions and the values of the people need to be heard because there may need to be some dialogue to get a consensus on the values. And then you need mechanisms to hold decision makers, be it from government or be it from industry or elsewhere, accountable. And this is why it is so important to have an inclusive multi-stakeholder forum like the IGF. And last year, we were, some of us in São Paulo, where we agreed on the São Paulo multi-stakeholder guidelines, which give some incentives and give some concrete tools how you can actually measure the accountability and transparency of multi-stakeholder processes to balancedness, to inclusivity and elsewhere.
Thank you so much. What is your take on it, Elise?
Well, first of all, it's an effort year after year to keep it open and keep it inclusive and to look at ourselves and see if we get new people in to join the discussion. And of course, you know, it's about regional representation, gender, age, transparency, and also transparency of the system. IGF can be some difficult, you know, to look into and to manage and to maneuver. And hopefully, if we are progressive enough to keep and to let new people in, I think we can have a lot of new and interesting discussions because we have new challenges. So we have to keep it open and to be sure that the workshops that we open up and who can dive in and who can come with their ideas, that we're open for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this great input. These are such great points that all of you are making that can lead to further discussion, and we're setting such a good foundation for the conversations to follow. Now, I'd like to have a short call of action from you. Once again, 60 seconds to government or the next panel. So, Hans-Petter.
Yeah, to our government colleagues. Digital governance must be built on strong foundations. The foundation is the internet itself. You have a unique responsibility. I'm making this personal now. But also a powerful opportunity to lead through collaboration. Work with the technical community, not only when crises arise, but continuously. Involve us early, invest in capacity building, and defend the legitimacy of multi-stakeholder spaces like the IGF. The internet strength lies in its shared ownership. If we want a digital future that serves all, we must build it together with openness, trust, and cooperation at the core. Together, we shape the future of the internet.
Thank you so much. That's a call to action. Over to you, Ambassador Schneider.
Thank you. Well, as somebody who lives in a country where normally not the government or the parliament have the last word, but the people, because they can vote on anything and say yes or no, my experience is that in most of the cases, the results are better if you have a participatory, not just decision shaping like the IGF, but also in the end decision making mechanisms, because people are forced to take sides, they're forced to be interested, they also know that they will face the consequences. Whatever they ask for, they may actually get it. And I can only encourage all decision makers and government leaders to use the wisdom of the people locally, nationally, internationally, involve them in a discussion, try and come up with balanced solutions. They are more sustainable normally.
Thank you, Ambassador. Elise, in your 60 seconds, what is your call to action?
No, I think that, you know, the multi-stakeholder dialogue, you know, government has a very important role for facilitating and so on, but also now through IGF and other multi-stakeholder dialogue, the government doesn't only have to speak, they can also listen, you know, and get advice. Thomas. And it's a space where policies can be tested, you know, challenged, improved, and IGF can also be used to bringing national experiences from each country and for governments out, you know, in the world, and to share, as we're supposed to do, and we do today, also on stage.
Thank you so much, Elise. I would like to say a huge thank you to our expert panel. Thank you, Hans-Peter. Thank you, Ambassador Snyder. Thank you, Elise. And thank you to you, Carol, as well. We're going to ask you to stay on stage, Carol, but a warm round of applause for our esteemed panel. Thank you so much for your contributions and for setting the tone and the foundation. Thank you. We're now moving to our second panel, where ministers from around the world will reflect on the continued relevance of the multi-stakeholder model. So now I would like to just frame this in a growing geopolitical, or rather growing geopolitical tensions that we see in the world around us, accelerating technological change. We are going to invite government representatives up on stage to engage in a dialogue on the continued relevance of the multi-stakeholder model in global internet governance. So I'm going to introduce them, and then they're going to join us on stage, and I'm going to ask you to give them a warm, rousing applause this morning. And we welcome back on stage our Minister for Digitalization and Public Governance of Norway, Karianne Tung. We have the Minister of Information, Communications, Science and Technology and Innovation from Lesotho, Ntati Morusi. We have the Deputy Minister of Communications from Malaysia, Ms. Ching. And we have Mr. Imagawa, the Vice Ministry for Policy Coordination, Ministry for Internal Affairs and Communication from Japan. Please welcome on stage and a warm round of applause. And of course, Carol Roach. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, ministers. Ministers, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be discussing why the multi-stakeholder model remains relevant. This is the topic of this panel, and also more crucial than ever amidst the digital and the geopolitical shifts that we have mentioned. The discussion will start with questions, and we're going to ask for your responses. Starting with you, Minister Tung, I would like to ask, how can governments really ensure that civil society and the technical community are meaningfully included and not merely present?
Thank you, and thank you for the question. Norway believes in the multi-stakeholder model because it is important to include every part of society, the civil society, the governments, the business sectors, and the meaning of an open and free internet where every part of society are represented. It's also important to make sure that the actors are gathered together to be able to discuss and meet up in a more and more complex world and a more and more complex internet as well. And then we believe it's not enough with the multilateral processes. We need the multi-stakeholder model and platforms to meet as well. So it's important for us that we have the civil society and the business sector here as well.
Thank you so much. Then I would like to really look at the question, what is at stake if the IGF as a platform loses political traction and legitimacy among states? Ntati Morusi, Minister of Information, Communication, Science, Technology and Innovation in Lesotho, over to you.
Thank you very much, moderator. I am honored to be speaking here on behalf of the Kingdom of Lesotho. Just as Honorable Minister from Norway said, Lesotho is also committed to the multi-stakeholder model. For us, it is not just a matter of principle. For us, it's a matter of necessity. Inclusive governance ensures that the digital future is not shaped only by the powerful, but through dialogue that reflects realities and the needs of all of us. If the IGF loses political traction, the consequences for small states like Lesotho will be significant. The IGF is one of the few truly inclusive platforms where we can engage global actors on our terms, raising issues such as rural connectivity, digital literacy, cybersecurity, and digital trust. Without it, the risk we run a risk of being sidelined by models that prioritizes commercial or geopolitical power over equity and development. So we have really seen that multi-stakeholder dialogue is important. I would like to give an example of the time when we were going through the elections. It was hard to regulate global social media platforms at the time because the policies often do not reflect national laws. In Lesotho, we face challenges of enforcing fair play during elections, especially during campaign blackouts, when content on these platforms continues unchecked. Some states have actually resorted to closing them out, which is something that we don't really favor. Instead, we look for forums like IGF to foster rights-respecting solutions.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. And then thank you also for our esteemed panel for staying within our 3-minute time frame. We truly appreciate that. These are big questions that we are answering, so we really appreciate your meaningful contributions here in the space that we have. And then I would like to go over to Teo Ni Ching, Ms. Ching, Deputy Minister of Communications in Malaysia. Could you also share with us and reflect on the country's approach to the multi-stakeholder model, your country's approach? What is at stake if we lose political support for the IGF? In your 3 minutes, please. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator, for your questions. For Malaysia, a multicultural and developing country committed in building a vibrant digital economy, the multi-stakeholders model is not just a theoretical concept. It is a practical, operational necessity that guides our active actions every day. We believe that this approach is now more crucial than ever to navigate the complexity of digital governance and ensure the progress is inclusive, equitable, and sustainable. This directly addresses the question of what is at stake if platforms like IGF lost their legitimacy. From the perspective of nations in the global south, the greatest risk we face is a slide towards a new form of digital colonization, where a handful of powerful states and corporations dictate the rules, standards, and norms for the rest of the world. If inclusive platforms like this lost their standing, we lost the great equalizer, the one arena where the voices of smaller nations can engage on a level playing field with global powers like what we are having here today. So the success of Malaysia's national digital blueprint, My Digital, depends on a global environment governed by principle we all had a hand in shaping. And the consequences of a fractured system would be severe. Our local digital economies will struggle to compete, and our digital sovereignty would be fundamentally undermined as well. And therefore, the legitimacy of IGF is not just about its own survival, it is our collective insurance policy against a fragmented internet. It is also our commitment to ensuring that all nations can move from being mere consumers of technology to becoming co-creator of our shared digital future.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ching. Dr. Tukwa Imagawa, Vice Minister for Policy Coordination, may I ask you, in your 3 minutes, what is your reflection on this? What is at stake if we lose political support for the IGF from your country's perspective?
Thank you, Chair. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for me to express my sincere appreciation to the Government of Norway, the UN IGF Secretariat, and all stakeholders for organizing this remarkable event. I represent MIT Japan in international collaboration and negotiations within the digital domain. Our work centers around 4 key priorities. Number 1, internet governance, including the global AI governance initiatives, such as advancing the Hiroshima AI process. Number 2, digital infrastructure, encompassing 5G mobile networks, subsea cables, data centers, and all photonics networks. Number 3, cybersecurity, with a strong focus on promoting capacity building programs in developing countries. Number 4, information integrity, addressing challenges such as mis- and disinformation and the protection of children online. Needless to say, Japan places great importance on the multi-stakeholder approach to the internet governance. The IGF stands as a powerful symbol of this approach in action, demonstrating how inclusive dialogue can shape meaningful outcomes. The Global Digital Compact also recognized the IGF as the foremost multi-stakeholder platform for discussion in internet governance. Japan had the honor of hosting the IGF 2023 in Kyoto, which welcomed over 11,000 registered participants from 178 countries and regions. Of these, more than 6,000 attended in person, a significant milestone in the IGF history. I also had the privilege of participating in the IGF 2024 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where I attended several sessions alongside distinguished guests from the government, industry, academia, civil society, and tech community. These experiences reaffirmed for me the profound value and effectiveness of the multi-stakeholder approach to internet governance. This year is particularly important as we engage in discussions on extending the IGF's mandate in the context of the WSIS Plus 20 review. The current trend towards a fragmented internet, often referred to as the splinternet, poses a serious challenge to the principles of openness and global connectivity.
Thank you, Mr. Iwagawa. Thank you so much for your kind contribution. I apologize for jumping in there, but we will come back to you with the next question as well. So I would just like to also say to Minister Tung that I jumped ahead with the question on how governments can ensure civil society and technical community are meaningfully included. Is there any, that's the question we're going to go to next. Is there anything that you want to add just briefly? What is at stake if the IGF loses political support?
I think it was said in the previous panel that the multi-stakeholder model does not happen by accident. We have to work hard to keep it as a multi-stakeholder model, and we can see that the model is under pressure, and we can see fragmentation, safety issues, but also weak coordination between different global processes. That risks weakening the IGF role. So it's important for Norway to work keeping the multi-stakeholder model in the years to come. And I really believe that this model builds trust with different actors that don't have many other platforms to meet up and to discuss together. So we want the multi-stakeholder model to continue, and hosting the IGF here in Norway and in Oslo in 2025, we want to give our contributions to make sure that this to continue.
Thank you so much for your contribution there, Minister. Thank you for your answer. And then on the question, continuing, how can governments ensure that civil society, technical community are meaningfully included and not just merely present? I'm going to go over to you, Ms. Cheng. In the 2 minutes that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the complex challenges of this digital age, from governing AI to ensure online safety, are too large for a single group to solve it alone. Governments can't do it alone, the private sector can't do it alone, and of course the civil society can't do it alone as well. So from Malaysia, to ensure meaningful inclusions, we go beyond just inviting stakeholders to the meeting. It's about building a whole of society ecosystem where they are genuine partners. We do this through several approaches. For example, we want to empower our general public and also civil societies. We set out a portal. It's called sebenarnya.my. Sebenarnya is in my national language. In English, it actually means actually. So it's actually.my, whereby people can go there. It's a fact-checking portal. So since 2017, we have roughly now 2.2 million hits monthly. At the same time, early this year, we also launched IFA. That is our own AI fact-check assistant, available online and also on WhatsApp. So I think in just 5 months, we have responded to over 113,000 user queries. So other than that, at the same time, we also heavily engage with the civil society when we do our law reviews and also come up with the content regulations and guidelines. One of the bills we passed in the parliament early this year is the Malaysia Media Council Act, and I will proudly say here, more than 90% or at least 85% of content actually come from the civil society itself. We believe this is what we meant meaningful inclusion.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ching. And then back to you, Dr. Imagawa. Can we ask you the same question in terms of how can governments really ensure that civil society and the technical community are meaningfully included and not merely present?
Thank you, Chair. Effective internet governance cannot be achieved through a top-down approach alone. So it requires robust multi-stakeholder cooperation, bringing together government, industry, academia, civil society, and the tech community. The multi-stakeholder platform must continue to evolve in response to the changing demands of our time and to foster greater inclusiveness. A notable example is the introduction of Youth Track in last year's IGF, a valuable initiative that strengthens civil society engagement with a special focus on empowering younger participants. I recognize it as an effective framework for promoting the inclusion of civil society across generations. In the field of internet technology, ICANN and IETF have played a pivotal role in establishing governance frameworks that support a free and open internet. In these activities, a wide range of Japanese stakeholders, including researchers, scientists, and engineers, have actively participated. Moreover, those stakeholders are often invited to contribute to the policy-making process within our ministry, such as through study groups or expert panels. By enhancing these interactions, we hope that the civil society and the tech community will continue to play a crucial role in shaping the future of internet governance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emagawa. Now, I would like to pose this question to members of our panel. What do you believe are the risks for smaller and less powerful actors if we lose inclusive arenas for dialogue and consensus building? Over to you, Ms. Natati Murusi, the Minister of Information, Communication, Science and Technology.
Thank you again, moderator. I think, first of all, we need to acknowledge that IGF remains one of the few platforms where we collaborate with the most powerful countries, with the biggest players in the industry. And we believe that for smaller and less powerful actors, the loss of inclusive platforms like the IGF is more than symbolic. For us, it is strategic. When decision-making is confined to closed doors, whether in state-dominated or commercially driven spaces, countries like Lesotho will feel left out without influence or even visibility. So inclusive arenas allow us not only to speak, but to be heard. They allow us to learn, to build coalitions, and ensure that rules reflect our contexts on digital inclusion, data governance, cybersecurity, and platform accountability. They are not abstract concerns. They affect everything from resilience of our education system to the integrity of our elections. If we lose this space, we risk a future where governance structures are built without our input, potentially misaligned with our laws, our cultures, and our aspirations. We also risk growing digital divides that are turning into geopolitical rifts. This is why consensus building must remain core to digital governance. Without it, there is no trust, there is no legitimacy, there is no stability, and for nations like ours, there would be no place to stand. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Minister. Now, Carol, coming to you. What do you believe are the risks for smaller and less powerful actors if we lose inclusive arenas for dialogue and consensus building?
I think the Honourable Minister wrapped it up, so I'm going to give you a very short answer to that. If we lose inclusive arenas such as the IGF, we fail to meaningfully engage all stakeholders equitably, we run a high risk of failure. Why? When we combine those who we label as small or less powerful, we are speaking of 85% of the world population and nearly 39% of the global GDP. So let's do the math. So we affect the outcomes of the SDGs, the GDC, and the digital future won't be for all.
That's a powerful statement. That is a very powerful statement. Thank you so much for your message. We've been exceptionally good with time, and what I'm going to do is just ask the panel to give a final word. If there's a reflection for you to share that you haven't shared, that you feel you want to say and just add to your message, we're going to give you a minute and a couple of seconds to say that, just to round off. Minister Tung.
Thank you. I believe that digitalization is really the tool we need to solve huge societal challenges, but also to to take part in new possibilities, and the internet is a crucial part of that. And that is why there is no difference really between the digital world and the physical world. So what we want for the physical world, we would also want it for the digital world, to be inclusive, to make sure that everyone can attend, that it's for everyone, that it's not fragmented, that it's safe, and that it's secure. That is really the development that we need in the years to come, to make sure digitalization is a good thing and not a bad thing.
Thank you so much. And then I'm going to go over to you, Minister Marusi.
Thank you very much. My last reflection is that really I feel like we've talked enough. I feel like we've had too many dialogues. I think it's about time we act. We have been to several platforms where we express our aspirations, our needs, with the powerful nations, with the powerful players in the industry. It is time to act. The digital divide is still existing in a big way in our countries. And if we are talking about closing the gap, we really have to be very intentional about it. So my plea is that we should go beyond conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Cheng.
In Malaysia, we definitely do not see the conflict between government leadership and stakeholder participations. We see two sides of the coins, and our experience has shown that while the multi-stakeholders process can be very challenging, can be very, very time-consuming. However, it is definitely more resilient, inclusive, and ultimately delivers more sustainable outcomes. So I think it's very, very important that our collective commitment must be to strengthen this inclusive platform like IGF, ensuring that they remain the premier space for this vital conversation to take place. Let us continue to work together to ensure the internet's future is shaped by the many and for the benefit of all. For the Malaysia perspective, as a representative of the Global South, I think the risks are immense if we lose the inclusive arenas for LIDO, like the IGF.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cheng. Mr. Imagawa.
Thank you, Chair. To safeguard and advance a free and open internet, I'd like to express again that the multi-stakeholder approach is essential, enabling the collective wisdom of diverse participants to address complex issues. Therefore, I strongly believe that we must not only pursue the extension of this IGF mandate, but also work towards securing its long-term continuity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Carol Roach, Minister.
So, you know, it's a complexity that has many layers. You know, I think it's a whole bag of onions, to tell you the truth. So therefore, no group or state has the complete or exclusive answer. So it's very important that it's a call to action by all.
A call to action by all. Wonderful parting words, a powerful message to, as I said, the government, the panels, the next speakers, those who follow this session, and to our audience and those of us watching online. Powerful call to action. We thank you so much to our panel for your wonderful contributions. Thank you, ministers. We thank you, and a warm round of applause for our wonderful panel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. So thank you for setting the foundation for the talks to come in the coming week. We really appreciate those insights and those powerful messages. But before we go, we are going to hear from the minister, or rather the mayor. When you're in the company of ministers, it's the M and then the minister, who knows? Maybe the minister one day, but the mayor for now of Lillestrøm, the city that is proud to host this event. He's standing outside of the second place in the world that was connected to internet in Norway, the research area. So this is a bit of a full circle moment. Without further ado, let's take a look at the film.
Norway was the second country in the world to connect to the internet, and it was in this building here in Lillestrøm, just outside the capital of Norway, Oslo. We still have good and exciting expertise in these areas. That the world community meets both physically and digitally in this arena to discuss the future of the internet makes me proud. As the mayor of Lillestrøm, it's a great honor to welcome the whole world, several thousand participants, to IGF Norway 2025 here in Lillestrøm.
So thank you so much to the Mayor of Lillestrøm, and thank you also to our wonderful panelists who participated in this opening plenary session hosted by, or presented by the host country Norway for IGF 2025. And with that, our official welcome truly comes to a close. Thank you for joining us, our audience here and online. The foundation, as we said, has now been laid for good conversations throughout the week. We hope you will be participating. But the day and the week has only just begun, ladies and gentlemen. We invite you to explore this rich and diverse program of sessions, not only today, but for the rest of the week. Come back to this plenary hall. We'd love to see you here. We're going to cover from AI to sustainability to digital inclusion and anti-fraud efforts. Don't forget to visit also the Open Village, which is just outside the hall, where inspiring inspirations and initiatives and innovations are on display for you to take inspiration from. Make sure you drop by the open stage as well, where conversations are continuing throughout the day. Also, if you haven't done so already, remember to download the app and use the IGF app. It'll show you around and show you what's happening. And coming up next in this plenary hall, join us right here at 11:30. We will dive into securing subsea cables. At the same time, in the conference hall, you can explore a dedicated session on digital sustainability. For everything else, which is panels, networking, opportunities, please check the IGF 2025 app for latest updates. On behalf of the organizing team and the host country here, Norway, we wish you a rewarding and inspiring and a thought-provoking week of dialogue, of insight and collaboration. Thank you. Let's continue to build digital governance together. Thank you so much.